Hi Super Soul Sisters, I wanted to talk to you today about attention. Where is your attention going? I'm going to take it from two aspects. One is from attention with regards to business, and the second is with attention in a social or relationship setting. I think this is such a critical thing that we are struggling with in our common Western kind of society, which is accentuated by the joys of the distraction of social media, having too many things on our plates, spinning too many plates with lots of things on those plates, especially if you're a mum and a mumpreneur. And so I get it. I hear you. I know where you're coming from. And it just causes so much stress when we have too many things going on. And quite often, it's that distraction of attention that becomes an issue. So this is one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about. First of all, I'll talk to attention with regards to business, and then I'll shift into the personal side. So attention with regards to business, quite often it's that ability to how focused are you? How long can you hold your attention on one particular project or task that you actually need to do? Now, I actually find that this is becoming more and more of an issue with folks because we're so conditioned by our devices. The pinging, the emails, they go ding, ding, ding the whole time. And you're constantly being pulled away from whatever it is that you're actually supposed to be doing, and that distracts you. Now, they have actually done studies with this. I have mentioned this before in my trainings, but I would say that this is one of the things that I've really become painfully aware of, is just how long it takes for us to get back into what it is that we're actually doing. So the studies show that it takes up to 10 minutes for you to get fully focused into whatever it was that you're doing. So if you've got your social media going ping, 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 your Facebook, your, whatever it is, it can be just text messages on your phone, emails coming in, notification bells going off all the time. And you see, this is what the giants are all about. They are constantly trying to suck us back into that. Those notification bells are there to hone you back in, to rope you back into their world of quite often chaos, quite often superficial, quite often, dare I say, not necessary. And it actually triggers the reptilian part of our brain. So it is training us as a society to be reactive to, if you think about Pavlov's dog, have you ever heard of him? When Pavlov, this was an experiment that was done with a scientist, and whose name was Pavlov, and he had a dog, and every time he rang the bell, that dog knew that it was time for food. At the beginning, he didn't know it was food, but then after a while, he kept hitting the bell, hitting the bell, hitting the bell. Now, at one point, he then noticed that he had conditioned his dog so much that he could just ring the bell and the dog would start salivating. Okay, didn't even have to have the food put out. So dare I say, we are being a whole bunch of Pavlov's dogs. We are all sitting in the zone of, Facebook pulling us in, X pulling us in, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Instagram pulling us back in, YouTube pulling us back in, our text messages pulling us back in. We are constantly being grab your attention, grab your attention, grab your attention, pulling us back into, oh, look, it's a completely inane thing that I had to drag you over here for half the time. And I actually get quite frustrated with it because my time is exceptionally precious to me. And unless it's urgent, I don't want to be disturbed. And I find it quite irritating, if I'm absolutely honest with you. Yet the young ones are seeing that as they're unaware of it. This is half the issue with our training. We need to become more aware of what's actually being done and how we're being conditioned. And do we really want to be a part of that? So how do we control that? Turn those notification bells off. Make sure that you don't have your alerts set on. Have it where you have blocks of time. So for me, I have blocks of time that I address my social media. So you'll notice that I'm more active first thing in the morning and the last thing at night on my social side of things. With business, it's the first thing in the morning and the end of the day. And I literally block it out. Otherwise, I just get so distracted and so frustrated, and you never get to finish anything because you're hopping from one hotspot to the other, and it's like, oh, it must be urgent. Oh, it must be urgent. And what has become the norm is that the media and advertisers, they have to over sensationalize something in order to get our attention now. So it's this huge, big, dramatic like headline, and then you get in there and you find, oh, actually it's got nothing to do with that. Like we had one recently, and God bless, I mean, I was so grateful to hear from friends and family members over in Zimbabwe. We had a state of emergency here in Queenstown. We had flooding. And yes, it wasn't great, but you know, that my whole thing about don't cut down the trees, please don't cut down the trees. Well, you know, if you cut down the trees, I've been saying for ages, if you've listened to any of my other videos, if you start cutting down all our trees, what's going to hold the mountain back? Now, everybody's been going, oh, Vicky, you know, stop making such a big drama out of it. Well, lo and behold, what happened is exactly that. They've cut down a whole lot of trees, and surprise, surprise, we got very heavy rains, and it washed all the soil down, and it took out, well, didn't completely take out a graveyard that's at the base of the hill. Now, this is one of the top, like there's a core tourist activity at the top. So you go up on a gondola and you can go luging and you can do that. Now, that is the main, like that's the main hub going into Queenstown, not going into Queenstown, in the heart of Queenstown. And this landslide happened, and there's a graveyard that's at the bottom, and it's, you know, covered tombs, damaged their tombstones. You know, there was worries that it was going to lift bodies and wash them down the streets. I was like, oh my Lord, sweet Lord. Anyway, there were 65 houses that were compromised, where there was mud flowing in and water flowing in. So our mayor of the town declared a state of emergency. He's now in trouble because they said it was a false state of emergency. He was worried that, you know, if it continued, that people would get hurt. There's contention around maybe it would have been a better approach to have sent like not military but police in to maybe stop people from going into their homes and maybe taking them somewhere safe, rather than declaring the whole town a state of emergency. So that overreaction is not an uncommon thing that I see. You know, we get over sensationalized and over dramatized, and we're in this high cortisol, you know, it's an emergency, everybody. Well, not really. Is it actually a state of emergency? In that case, it turned out it actually wasn't. The rain, it was declared 7 days, I think we had, and I think after day 3 they called it off. Whereas in South Africa, you know, in a place called Cape Town, they have had torrential rains. It's washed away roads, it's washed away houses. I mean, their water systems have been compromised. Their electricity's down. Well, their electricity's down anyway because of their poor, you know, power cuts and everything. But effectively, that is more likely to be a state of emergency than what we had, right? So this is where I'm going with this, is this whole thing of how conditioned are we by these, you know, it's urgent, it's urgent, it's urgent. You know, our attention, where's our attention? They are all vying for our attention. Do you want to be programmed like that? Do you want to have it where, you know, ping, 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 and you're jumping from one hotspot to the other? 90% of the time, it's not even urgent. It didn't warrant your attention. You've now lost that time. You can't get it back. That's it. It's gone. Now, think about that in terms of, if you think about this from a business perspective, time equals money, okay? Time equals money. So every time somebody snatches your attention unjustifiably, wasting your time on trivial, on material, on shallow, you've got to go, how much did that just cost me? How much did this just cost the business? So the only, I'm in, my other business is technology. And I have to say, I mean, I'm a vigilante when it comes to digital devices, because I want them off. I want 100% attention with someone when I'm with them, and I turn mine off, and I ask the same respect from somebody else. Now, it's not always possible. I get it. If you're a one-man band, oh no, but Vicky. Now this is where we start making excuses for having been trained by all these parties that are in it for what? For you or for them. Okay, they are, the bottom line for them is, if I can get your attention in often enough, regularly enough, somehow I will be able to make money out of that. And secondly, there might be an element of control. So it's like, for example, like with Facebook or whatever, it'll be the more people I can gather, the more power there is, because I've got more eyeballs. More eyeballs means I can get more advertisers. More advertisers means more revenue, okay, for them. Ultimately, that's what they want. They want a bigger audience as they possibly can in order to be able to advertise to them so that they can get money from you. That's how now how is that going to help your business? Not. Okay, so get aware. First of all, turn it off. I don't have notifications. I just don't have them. It's constantly like, oh, your screen time was XYZ. I mean, yeah, it's interesting, but did I actually need to be dragged away for that time? No, I didn't, whilst that was interesting, not necessary, really. If I really wanted to know, I could go look it up myself, couldn't I? Okay, so just get clear, become aware, go, I'd like you today, from a business perspective, I would like you to have a look at just how much distraction and of how much your attention has been or is being grabbed during the day. I would like you to count how many notification bells go off on your phone in the next hour to 2 hours, and just go, right, I've had X amount of pings for messages, pings for my emails, pings for my social media, pings from my phone for, your screen time or whatever else it is. Just count how many. And if you want to get bold, go for the whole morning and start noticing, I got distracted 10, 15 times already. And if you start looking at that 10 times, 10, that you've now lost more than an hour of your time going to have a look, getting back into whatever it is that you were trying to get your concentration in on. 2, zone it out, tune it out, switch off those notification bells, go in and block out time just in the mornings or lunch times or whenever it is, and have it where that's your dedicated time. And keep your boundaries, I would say, with that. Have it where it's like, I've got X amount of time, I've got half an hour, bang, that's it, that's your window. Because what often happens as well is they get in there, they get in conversations, they start, and then now that half hour's become an hour. Okay, now you've lost your lunch hour when you could have been out exercising, you could have been out doing something else, meeting with friends on a one-to-one basis without a device. Okay, so have a think about that. I challenge you today to see how many times your attention has been snatched from you without you ever being having, after this message today, you're going to start noticing. Remember I was talking about your Rastas glasses, if you go back in my channel, if you a reticular activating system, you've never become aware of the fact of, or you've heard about it, but you've never really actually logged it. Go and do that exercise today just to see how much they are grabbing your attention, how much of your precious time is being actually lost. So log that, register that, and then make a plan on how you're actually going to address it. Okay, because it's costing not only your personal time, honestly, guys, you can't get it back. That is one thing you will never, ever get back again. All right? As time is lost, and that's it. And people treat time quite cheaply, if I'm honest. And I find that quite alarming because, you know, I'm already 15 minutes older than I was before. I do this because it's going to make a difference in people's lives. That's my goal, okay? And when you start becoming aware of that, it's just like, holy hell, actually, I can't get that back. Was it worth me reading 10 or 15 arbitrary notifications? Really, was it necessary? Could I have managed without that? Yes or no? Most of the time it's no, okay? So start becoming aware of that. Start honing back. Start getting control of your time again, and start putting it into little categories, little slots where you can still address it, and then you can also screen it out. You're not reacting to every single message. I screen mine. I go, right, that's a message I don't need to read. That's the one I don't need to read that. I don't need to read that. I don't need to read that. Yes, that's one I need to address. So you get picky about which notifications. You don't respond to every notification. They don't have your number. You've got theirs, okay? You're not going to be programmed anymore from this day forward when it comes to your time. Okay, so become aware of that. It's really important. And I think it's just getting worse and worse. And unless we start actually going, that's not working for me, I'm not doing that anymore, we're just going to get sucked into that vortex where our attention is just going to be wasted on absolutely useless things. Now, do you know what? I've gone over my time already, so I'm going to break this video up into two. I'm going to have, I'll do the personal attention one next for you. Okay, thank you so much. Your shoes, your path, your way. Namaste.